The mansion stood alone, swallowed by the thick fog of the surrounding forest. Its towering structure loomed under the pale light of the setting sun, the windows dark and unwelcoming. Lena stood at the entrance, gripping her backpack tightly, feeling an unease settle deep in her bones. Inside, the grand hall whispered of forgotten memories, dust-covered furniture, chandeliers swaying ever so slightly, and an old, full-length mirror standing against the far wall. The glass, smeared with age, seemed to breathe with the shadows. She reached out, brushing away the dust, revealing faint handprints beneath. A shiver crawled up her spine. On a wooden table nearby, an old journal lay open, its yellowed pages scrawled with frantic warnings. The mirror does not reflect. It watches. That night, as she settled into the dimly lit bedroom, an oil lamp casting flickering shapes along the walls, the power abruptly cut out. A heavy silence fell, broken only by the sound of her own breathing. Then a whisper, faint, almost gentle. Lena. Her name drifted through the air, wrapping around her like cold fingers. Heart pounding, she turned toward the mirror. Her reflection stood still, a moment too long. Then, as she raised a trembling hand to her face, the reflection smiled. But Lena hadn't. A distorted grin stretched across her reflection's lips, unnatural, sinister. And then, as she stepped back in horror, the whisper came again from inside the glass. "Let me in." The whispers grew louder. Symbols etched themselves onto the glass. Lena jolted awake to find the mirror glowing faintly in the darkness. The reflection no longer hers, but a shadow of something far worse. And then the glass cracked, not inwards, but pulling apart like a doorway. From within the fractured surface, a blackened hand emerged, its fingers curling, reaching. A figure stepped forward, crawling out with slow, deliberate movements. It had her face, her hair, but its eyes were hollow voids, endless and hungry. Panic surged through her as she ran, the hallway twisting, stretching impossibly long. Behind her, the thing followed, its limbs too long, its grin too wide, whispering, "You broke the mirror." "But you didn't break me." Frantically flipping through the journal, Lena found the answer. An old ritual, symbols drawn in chalk, a fire of sage and salt. With shaking hands, she carved the sigils onto the wooden floor, whispering incantations she barely understood. The house trembled, the air thick with whispers and unseen presences. From the mirror, her own voice echoed back at her, pleading, mocking. "You cannot erase what is already inside you." The grandfather clock struck midnight. The mirror pulsed, its cracks weaving back together, the creature pressing against the surface. She grabbed the burning sage, hurling it into the void. A scream, inhuman, piercing, filled the air as blue flames erupted from the depths. The house shuddered, and then silence. The mirror reassembled itself. Lena stood, breathless, staring at her reflection. This time, it moved in sync with her. Normal, but as she turned away, she caught it, just for a second. A flicker of something else in its eyes. Something wrong. Wrapping the mirror in heavy cloth, she dragged it to the attic, locking it away beneath dust and time. She left the mansion at dawn, swearing never to return. But as she walked away, she could feel it. Watching, behind the cloth, behind the locked door, the reflection waited. Years passed. The mansion stood empty, abandoned once more. But one day, a family moved in. A child, curious and fearless, wandered into the attic. Small hands reached for the cloth, pulling it away. And there it was, the mirror, pristine, perfect. The child giggled, waving at their reflection. And then their smile faded. The reflection, it did not wave back. It only grinned. And in a whisper, barely audible, it spoke, "Let me out."